Mr. Tim Seku. Right. The only other Chinese besides me. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me well? Perfect. Though I may be young, I'm not 18, I'm 17, so thanks for asking. Today, what I wanted to share a little bit about was how user-generated content, customer-generated content marketing is on the rise from what I've been seeing from brands we've worked with, and how you guys can harness it. Quick show of hands, anyone use UGC or CGC for their marketing today? Only 1, 2, 3. I am in the perfect room, perfect. If you guys had to raise your hands, I might have just walked away or cracked that joke to walk away, but it's all good. All right, so today, I wanted to give you a quick introduction of what we are, who we are, like why am I here? Am I even legitimate enough to talk to you guys? Well, we are a 5-year-old company based in San Francisco, and our vision and mission is really around helping brands humanize their marketing. What the heck does that mean? Well, I started this company about 6 years ago, out of my dorm room, actually out of a college project and project classroom. And I remember when they were telling me, come up with an idea and take it as far as you can for the semester project. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. I was on Facebook like every other college kid would, and I saw photos of people experiencing whether it's their travel or a book they finished reading or OOTD, outfit of the day they just decided to take on Instagram. And I was like, wow, these are some great word of mouth testimonials and social proof for these brands, but do they even find it? Do they even use it? And if it just lives on the network, why can't it live elsewhere so that us consumers can actually benefit from that? So what we built was a platform that essentially helps brands look for the best customer-generated content on the social media world, be able to moderate and curate that very easily, clear the rights, and then be able to repurpose that across all their marketing channels, which could mean your websites, your screens, your email marketing, ads, wherever your customer journey is today, that how far you are at, you can implement user-generated content or customer-generated content in a nutshell there. And this is what it kind of looks like, right? So on the websites, you can see it on the homepage, on email marketing, or even on Facebook ads on Facebook, to even digital signage, on ads, and on like social, or even on print. So wherever you are with your customer journey, you can implement CGC, and here's why you guys should consider that. So we've worked with a lot of brands for the last few years as well, and I'm excited to share some of the learnings. And as we like to humanize marketing, I like to humanize myself. So first thing about myself, a fun fact is I was a childhood actor, but only for like 3 commercials. There's one on YouTube that you guys can find, but that'll be for another day. I grew an Instagram account out of a bet saying that I couldn't grow it up to 10,000 followers. I grew it to 17 within like 4 months, and it's that account if you ever want to have are you guys ever having a bad day and you guys want to have like a good puppy laugh? Like that's a good one to follow. And if you can see, I actually rock a reverse widow's peak. I actually wanted to be an aspirational barber when I was younger, and I decided to have everyone else be my customers, one including my grandmother when she was sleeping one time, and she got really angry, so after that, I decided to cut my own thing, and then I cut too deep, and now it's a scar. So call it a reverse widow's peak. All right, so now you get to know me a little bit. Let's move on to the meat of what we're here for. First one is just really around why user-generated content marketing is on the rise. And the second thing is how you can use it. Third thing, let's see what other brands are using it today so you can learn. And as I always say, great artists steal, so let's steal some of their ideas. All right, you guys all know what this is. You guys don't, I'm a little worried, but this is your traditional customer journey, right? You have people kind of looking at being aware of your product or service all the way to the consideration, all the way to buying it, and then being a loyal customer. And if this was all it was, then we'd be all rich because we would know how to crack this and hack this and do everything we need to do for optimizing the customer journey. Unfortunately, we all know it's not as easy. And what do I mean by not as easy? If you kind of see this, and then this is just a shit ton coming at you, but if you kind of just take a look at this, it's split between managed properties and earned properties. So what that means is like where are channels that you can control in the customer journey and where are channels that you cannot control that is part of the customer journey. And let's pay attention to the ones that are the more solid colored ones. So you can see there's a good amount of those, and each of those are opportunities for you to engage with your customers that are going through the customer journey. And each of those needs great content to engage with them, right? And that's the challenge, right? Because we have so many channels we have to be on and create content for, it can be quite a headache. And this is an example of even from the other side. So that was from a marketer standpoint, maybe your current professional standpoint. this is what it looks like maybe from a consumer standpoint, where let's say we're thinking about buying shoes. What we're going to do first, we're going to maybe look at a magazine, get inspired, then maybe go ask a Facebook friend, and then go to their website and check out some comparisons, and then go to some review sites, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And again, let's focusing on the touch points that we can manage. Those are all opportunities for us to have great content to put on there. And I'm sure you guys all know this. That's why you guys are where you guys are today. But that's the challenge, that we are needing to create a lot of great content. And here you probably hear this a lot. You got to keep calm and just create more content. And you guys aren't the only ones. There's a survey from ClearVoice this past year, surveying marketers, and you kind of see the top 10 challenges. Let's focus on the top 4. You hear time, we hear it all the time, we know that. Quality of content, quantity of content, and just the scalability of that content. For example, one of our customers, Lowe's Hotels, has about 24 different properties around the States. And if you guys have multiple properties or multiple brands within your umbrella corporation, those are all multitude of channels that you need to create content for. So we can probably agree that these are some big challenges for content and content generation today. And if you kind of scale it down to the production or the quantity of content, you can see the 2 main challenges is we need to create more content and we need to scale that content. And again, scaling means just number of channels that you guys are on, or number of brands you guys own, or even number of properties that you guys want to localize content for. And so we know that content creation is very challenging, and that's no surprise then to see that about 300% of content brand content has been generated in the past year, yet only about 5% of that content gets engaged with. And that's a report from Beacon. You guys can take a look at that as well. And I think about it, I'm like, why is that the case? And myself as a younger millennial gets to scrutinize a lot of these things on social, on anywhere that we walk down the streets. And I feel like this is what I see, where it's like, you have content where people need to be at and need to use, and so let's just slap content on there, and thus it should work. And unfortunately, it doesn't. And so this is why when we think about the next part of it, we think about quantity of content, we need to think about the quality of it as well, right? And so when we think about quality, we need to see, okay, is it engaging? Is it something that's relatable? Is it something that resonates with our audiences? Because it's one thing to just say, I need to create content and just push it out onto all my channels. It's another thing to actually make it work and see people go down the funnel and actually convert. And if you kind of look in a little bit deeper, I started asking myself, well, why is the quality of content not usually there? And it's because us as marketers are maybe incentivized sometimes to not tell the full truth. And that's not our fault. That's because maybe we're told by our managers that we need to hit certain goals by certain times. So in order to hit that, we need to just pump out content. We'll hire people to just do it, and then as long as it's met the requirements, let's push it out. And so we don't necessarily get to push out the best quality of content. And to make it all kind of summarize here, I took a quote from former CMO of a Microsoft division, and he says that in today's on-demand economy, basically, we have very little attention span. And because of that, we need to, as marketers, provide really great content that's not only relatable, but also is fresh and dynamic and meets the constant moving stream of the consumers today. That's a shitty situation to be in as a marketer, don't you think? And so really the summary really here is that us as marketers need great, effective, more content. And this is where the superhero sound comes in, because we have a solution, right? There's always a way to figure this out. And so really what I'm trying to train and share and educate you guys today is the 1.8 billion pieces of content that gets created every day on social and around the web, to be able to utilize that and be able to repurpose that from what your customers are creating for you already about your brand today. And as a result, you get to see, obviously, higher brand engagement, because these are content that is relatable to you. That's people like you and I. Reducing content creation costs. I don't have to go and now hire people or hire photographers or models to go create the content. And then lastly, you can see increasing conversion, because think about the last time you made a purchase. Did you ever look at the Amazon reviews? Did you ever look at maybe the product page and see how other people wore the product or tried the product? And when you feel safer about that, you can actually make the purchase. And so looked at some Forrester reports, some other third-party studies. And now is the right time to start looking at that because there's just so much more behavior of creating content. If you think about it in the back of your phone, back of your pocket, you have your phone, and the social networks have democratized content creation for all of us. We can all create content immediately when we step out of the door today, and a brand can really utilize that. And so when we think about the customer's journey and how we can utilize customer-generated content or user-generated content, you think about it from the awareness perspective or discover perspective. It's all about inspiring people that are not our customers yet with user-generated content. Maybe during the purchase stage, we get to help them convert them or even give them the validation that what they're about to purchase is actually worth it or is actually something that they can draw a lot of value from. Right? So this is what it looks like when you think about how customer-generated content can be applied to each stage of the customer journey today. And like I mentioned, why now? So if you kind of think about it, the Forrester report here, like I mentioned, is with all these ads today, actually, does anybody have a guess on how many ads we get maybe exposed to on a daily basis? And I'm going to share it afterwards, but kind of throw out what you guys think. Think about on a daily basis, how many ads do you guys see? 5,000, 500? 2,000. It's estimated anywhere from 5,000 to anywhere up to even upwards of 10,000 ads per day. And you're thinking, what the heck, that's not possible. Well, if you kind of wake up, you use your toothpaste, you see a logo, that's technically an advertisement. But you go online and you scroll through your Facebook, all those photos you scroll through are 2 more advertisements. You go on your email, there's advertisements all on there. There's a lot of advertisements. So the fact that there's a lot of advertisements today, us as consumers are tuning out to that. And when we tune out to that, we only can rely on things that we trust more or believe in more, and these are from people like you and I who have no incentive to maybe manipulate or lie about the content they push out. At the same time, from Forbes here, we see that about 84% of millennials are starting to disregard ads or even just tune out on ads. You see the rise of ad blocking increasing, about 30% in 2017, I believe, from eMarketer. And so we are starting to see brands really embrace the user-generated content at the heart of their brand marketing. You can see here as a quick example, Target, you have your typical brochures, but even on their Instagram here, they're utilizing their customer-generated content that this guy Nate created and shared on to their audiences. And here's you can see some quick stats from that Forrester report. We have adults like you and I who are now not only relying on user-generated content, but also consuming user-generated content, and most importantly, producing user-generated content. And why is that the case? Like I mentioned, we have our phones and networks that have democratized content creation for all of us to do so very easily. Even if you go on Yelp, that's a network that you're creating content or giving a recommendation for. All right, so that's why we're starting to see user-generated content marketing on the rise for a lot of brands. Now you might ask, okay, this all makes sense. I buy it. Word-of-mouth marketing is the best form of marketing ever since the beginning of history, so this makes a lot of sense. How do I do so? And so there's a manual way, which I'll share, and then an automated way. A manual way, go on the network that you choose, search for a hashtag or keyword that you're looking for. Maybe it's your brand hashtag, maybe it's your brand keyword, or even your brand at mention. You obviously get results. You look for them, you maybe scroll down, there's a hodgepodge of them, maybe use an extension to kind of filter it down for you, but you kind of look at this, you click on a photo and you're like, hey, I like this one. I want to actually use it for my marketing, so I can manually ask them, and you're gonna have to come back and wait for them to respond. And once they respond, you can maybe screenshot the proof that they gave you permission, and then finally screenshot it and then use it for your email or use it for your website. It all works. You guys can do that even today. So just kind of wanted to lay that out there that that's something you guys can do. Right? As long as you ask for permission, even in a manual basis, you guys can start to utilize that for your marketing. And that's what maybe a lot of social media marketers today do on Instagram when they see a photo they like and ask them for permission via DM or on the comment, and then be able to regram that. Right? That's the most common way of UGC that we see today. Now, how do we do it more automated-wise? So there's a lot of platforms out there today, and you can just search up, Google search UGC marketing solutions and platforms. And essentially how it works is that you can start to first collect the type of content that you're looking for. And content doesn't mean just like my own Facebook post or my own Instagram post. It can mean that what people are sharing about you via hashtags, via geolocation, via keywords, via app mentions. There's a lot of filters, we can take a look up top, a lot of filters to choose from to basically see which ones, which kind of content that you want to source and collect from. And there's a lot of networks to choose from as well. So this is more of the automated way. After that, you can start to moderate and curate the content. You have this platform that sucks in all this content that people are creating for you, and then be able to see it in one view of like, okay, I like this content, I don't like this content. Or I can even filter by saying, I only want to see content that is created by influencers greater than 50,000 followers, right? There's ways to automate all that for you guys. Next, you can also start to expect smart curation. So a lot of push into like AI and machine learning. That can also be applied in this case. And what that means is maybe you only want to see content with happy faces on there, or at the beach, or with a certain brand logo, with blue colors. That can all be automated now because there's smart learning machines out there with image recognition technology attached to that. And ultimately it gives you some sort of recommended score to say, hey, this is the ones that you should pay attention to repurpose for your marketing for the best chance of a conversion wherever you're deciding to place that on. You can see here a quick example we've run with our customers. This is P.F. Chang's. And so, P.F. Chang's, you can say family photos, photos in front of the big horse, some alcohol photos. Actually, they don't even want that. All they want is what the food looks like, because they found out that when people see the food, they get hungry, they get excited, they want to go to P.F. Chang's. All right. Next one is just be able to automate the rights request. So what that means is there's automation that you can say, hey, I'm going to put in my own terms and conditions. I'm going to put in a nice message that says I really like that photo, and then be able to send it off into their photo on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and then basically be able to have them respond with the hashtag yes or a reply with I approve, and that all is automated back into the system and allows you to now be able to download that photo and then be able to repurpose that again. Again, this is all just kind of showcasing how you can automate this. There's a lot of platforms out there. Don't even look at ours if that's not the case. I'm just encouraging you guys to explore UGC marketing as a whole. Lastly, you can start to brand and display how you want to make it look like, whether it's the fonts, the colors, et cetera, et cetera. You can create galleries. So like, let's say you guys are selling hotel rooms and you want to see how the hotel room looks like from the eyes of a guest. You can create this gallery right before someone checks out and be able to do that. Finally, where can you repurpose this content? Now, like I said, the most popular way for user-generated content marketing today is kind of just like regramming it on Instagram, which makes perfect sense. I think the other thing to really consider is how to start repurposing it on other channels across your customer journey, right? So you can have it on digital out-of-home billboards if you guys ever buy inventory on there, on your websites when people are looking to consider making a purchase, on email marketing when maybe you lost them, it's a shopping cart abandonment, you can retarget them with how other customers have utilized your product. On digital signage, maybe at a hotel lobby, or even in an office that you want your employees to really understand how other employees are really enjoying their experience working there. There's all these marketing channels that tie directly back to your customer journey that you can apply this user-generated content for. And again, this is what it can look like. All right, lastly, who can we learn from about this? So I have 3 of them for you. First one is Specialty Produce, based down in San Diego. They're a specialty food, fruits retailer based in San Diego, like I mentioned. And they wanted to, so when they have shipped their food or fruits from the farmers to when they are retailing it, there's a lot that goes into that. And not only that, there's a lot of great stories to produce out of those fruits. And look, they can go create it themselves. They can go hire people to do so. But instead, they tapped into one of their most valuable assets, which know their brand the best, which is their employees. So what they did was they asked all their employees. So user-generated content doesn't have to just be your customers. It can be your employees as well. So they tapped into their employees and said, hey, employees, about like 100 of them, we want you to just tell us the story behind some of the fruits and vegetables that you guys are bringing from the farmers to here and showcase that. And what they did was they decided to display that all on their websites, on their homepage, on their screens inside their actual retail store, And here's the result. After about a year of repurposing all this content created by their employees, which would then encourage their customers to create content for them as well, they saw an increase of not only post activity, so like when people see their content on screens or websites, they want to join in and be part of that brand story as well. They also saw a lot of awareness impressions because these are now your marketers, your customers are now and employees are your best marketers who are naturally creating content for you to be part of that brand story. And here's my favorite one. It's that the revenue increase from inspired purchases. So what does that mean? Is that when people are creating these stories out of these products, they're just showcasing a story very authentically and then repurposing that. And when you do that, instead of saying, hey, I'm a brand, look at me, it's, hey, I'm a brand and here's my employee and customer who are sharing great stories, you should listen to them, right? So they saw about a 2/3 of an increase of revenue from inspired purchases, and that was really exciting. Anyone here use Blue Apron? You guys cook with Blue Apron? You guys ever cook with those kind of meals? Okay, cool. So if you guys don't know, Blue Apron's a meal delivery kit service, right? And so, when you come back home, you don't want to make all the food or buy all the food, they give it to you. So what they wanted to do was that they noticed when people were getting these subscription boxes and cooking, the first thing they do after they finish cooking is take a photo of what their masterpiece was. I've done it before, and I was so proud of it because I rarely cook, but this one was a masterpiece. And that's because their instructions are really awesome. And so they wanted to basically start to utilize all that content. But how do they do so when they have a mass array of customers who are creating content for them on a daily basis? A very good position to be in, I agree. So what they did was they used what I mentioned, the sort of curation system and rights clearance system and the sort of the smart deep learning AI system to be able to bring down what it makes sense for them to utilize. So for example, they're like, okay, we only want content with food in it, or maybe only content with kids in it, or maybe content with pets in it, or maybe content with food with yellow in it because we know that we sold a time when there was just curry and curry's yellow, and so we want to find all that. So what they found was around 600,000 posts being able to narrow it down to that best 2,000 that they can now repurpose not only again on their websites, on their print when they put it in the packaging, on their digital signage inside their own factories and warehouses to excite what the customers are saying for the employees who are doing all the groundwork, right? So they can start to repurpose that, but the main point here is be able to save time and reduce that content creation costs. Here's another one from Forrester. They did third-party independent research, and similar thing. They saw about a double increase of number of content that they could have armed themselves with in their library, and then be able to essentially save about 2 resources from having to go do that manually. Last one, Loews Hotels, like I was mentioning a little bit before. 24 properties in the United States, and if you think about it, they need a lot of content, not only for just one property, but across 24 properties. Multiply that by the 5 stages of the customer journey that they need to create content for. It's a lot of content that they need. And that's why they decided to tap into their guests, the guests who are creating these content. I mean, think about every time you go to a hotel, the first thing you're going to do is take a photo of the scene outside your window, maybe at the pool, maybe at the bar that you guys really enjoy. So these are all assets that they can use. And so what they did was be able to automate all that sourcing, collection of rights, and then repurpose that not only on their websites, but here's what's fascinating, on their print ads and even on their key cards when you check in. And I remember them saying that they found a gay couple that was celebrating their wedding or something like that, or their honeymoon. And they got a photo of them checking at the Loews Hotels, put them on the guest key card, and celebrated that. Right? How amazing is that two-way communication there for that? So here's what they saw. About, obviously, your social engagement goes up in terms of like how many people are creating content for you on social media. Time spent on booking site, that one's very key there. So repurposing this content isn't just to be flashy and showy. It's to see what the conversion can be. So when you can put it at the right place, which in this case was right before the purchase page or the booking page, you see an increase of that because you're seeing how guests are experiencing that their stay at the hotel. And overall, a 4x increase in revenue from that conversion piece, from landing it on the website and be able to see all that great content to making a purchase. And here, I'll just end here is this, 10 years ago, hospitality marketing had the team of creating a handful of content, maybe print ad, website assets, and maybe a few billboards. Now with that same budget, they're expected to create hundreds of pieces of content for the booking pages, emails, social ads, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the same budget. It's just endless. So how do they solve that? And I'm sure some of you guys might have that challenge with budget and time, repurposing that guest-generated, user-generated, customer-generated content. So I'll leave you with this. We're seeing a shift in marketing in terms of how we convey our message to our customers. In the past, you had that snake oil salesman, look at me, I'm selling the best remedy that you can ever believe in, and you should just buy it because you should just trust me on it. Then we moved into the sort of TV characters or equity characters that they're saying here. In the 1950s, the Man, Tony the Tiger, Pillsbury Doughboy, personify the brand through a character, and we really like that because it's calming, it's fun. But now we're seeing the consumer advocates, people like you and I. Like I mentioned, the back of our pocket is the key for us to be the content creators and the voice of the brands today, and the brands are listening, and they are utilizing that, and maybe it's time for you guys to maybe consider that. So if you guys want to talk, that's my email in blue, unfortunately really difficult to read, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to chat more. Thanks so much.
Well, so first of all, I just want to say congratulations to you for being so young
Thank you.
and creating this kind of a niche company.
It's been a hell of a journey. Anyone who wants to talk about startup journey, let's go. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing.
Thank you.
I can't even tell you what I was doing at 17. You don't really want to know.
I'm really not
Yeah.
17, I'm 27.
Or 27, what I mean, but still, when you started,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's amazing. I know for the rest of us here, we were probably in, iStock images, Getty images.
Fair.
That's what we use.
Fair,
and that's, you got to pay a subscription to this thing. So this
Absolutely.
is really good stuff here.
Thank you.
So what I wanted to ask is, how is this integrated, right? Like,
Yeah.
is this cloud-based? If we're choosing all this, is this on the web, like
Yep.
web-based, or
Yeah.
does it integrate into anything?
Great question. So the way I think about it is there's two outputs of this, a gallery output or a single asset output. Right? Gallery output is if you want to put it on your websites, on a home page, or on product pages, or a gallery on your digital signage screens inside the hotel lobbies. These are gallery outputs. Then you have your single asset output, which means that, let's say I liked, Jane's photo of her and her, partner in front of the hotel and want to use that. I can ask her for the rights to that, specifically for that, and then just download it. And then that can be shipped directly into where you want that to go. So it can go, there's integrations, like you can ship it directly into your Hootsuite publisher. You can ship it directly into your MailChimp editor. You can ship it directly into your HubSpot or Marketo asset library. Those are all integration opportunities and available so that you can get those single assets directly into where you want that to end up.
Right, and then the second thing is that you had shown a screenshot, right? Say we wanted that image, but about like the comments and things that are under that image, is there like a chain reaction where someone's going to say, hey, you can't, I didn't give you permission to use my screen?
Yeah, so pretty much how these systems work is that these systems will look for a hashtag reply or hashtag keyword reply, and if that's not met, then that's not cleared. It's only when it's met, then the system will notify you that that photo has been cleared. Otherwise, the system will ping you and say, hey, this hasn't been cleared yet. You might want to check into that photo, and you might see a thread happen where it's like, oh, would you be able to, @mention me for it before I clear the rights to it, for example.
Sure.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes. Joey back.
Just Hail Mary that.
No, yeah, let me just run it over here.
Sorry, we didn't sign liability forms, so don't do that.
Can it do video or only still images?
No, it's both. It's any asset, really, text, photos, and videos.
And does Tint
Yeah,
or
like testimonials.
do you know of any user-generated content curator like Tint that integrates a payment platform? So if an influencer gets back to you and says, rights to my photo is $75, you can just Venmo them the money or whatever.
Yeah, there's a company called Lobster. You should check out. I think it's lobster.it. And they have a payment system for that.
Cool.
So yeah, typically what we've seen with consumers is that close to 70% of us will respond with just a yes and approve it, only because us as advocates and customers don't rely on, that being our income, whereas maybe an influencer would, right? So again, if you're targeting like employees and customers that are actually using your product and sharing on behalf of you, the worry of needing to pay them is much less, because we've seen over the period of time, 70% of that requests will be cleared with just a response saying yes. And amazing, I'm so happy and I'm so excited to be part of the brand story.
Okay.
Okay, if they approve it and you want to use a print ad,
Yeah.
what do you do about the quality issue?
Yeah.
Because it's fine if you put it online,
Yeah.
but it's print is
Yeah.
totally
So what
different
we've
issue.
recommended is almost creating like a small mosaic on the print ad. So like the full print ad, you can see like it only took up maybe less than half the page. So even if that quality is not the best, you can maybe combine like 4 and create a mosaic or montage of it to still have the quality, but also still create the essence of that user-generated content. And then for the rest of it, have some copy like, Jane from Boston really loved this. Like, what do you think? Stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Great questions. All right. I
Okay.
think we should move on. That's my information. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
very much. Let's give a round of applause to